Coach Yoder, so great to see you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
All right, Coach, what a history you have. 17 seasons, 400 plus wins. If I walked into your office and found a note from your first year self, okay, the guy that started coaching you know, long time ago, what would that note say to you now?
What are you doing? Scared to death. 17 years basically as the head coach, but I came here 20 years ago. Me and a couple of other guys, Glenn Johnson and John Lochnovich, came in with me, and this is something we wanted to try and do. And Mount Mercy had not had a lot of success. The two teams prior to us were, I think they won 5 games 2 years prior and won 4 games the year prior. And 3 seasons prior to that, they canceled the season. So the program was not in good shape at all. And when we got here, I think there was 9 people on the roster in the fall, and we had to go recruit the volleyball team and the basketball team just to kind of I think we got our roster up to 12 or 13. And so we were just kind of flying by the seat of our pants there, and it was quite an adventure. But we won 9 games that year, so we almost doubled the previous years. So,
That's awesome.
and then the next year, after a year under their belt, we got 20 and then built from there. And then Glenn had he had other things going on. So that's when became we became co-head coaches for a year or two. And then I got the full-time position here. But yeah, a lot of things have changed since then.
Yeah, there has. Your facilities are great. I love your facilities. It's a great place to watch games.
Yep.
And it was fun getting to meet your girls. They're so much fun, and they were excited to do whatever to have some fun to celebrate their program. I'm excited to get to know them better too as we go. Building a program from scratch is so hard. And I don't know if anybody understands it. It's not just recruiting. It's not just coaching. It's figuring out a zero budget, figuring out how to travel the right way, figuring out how to get the right staff, getting them taught and trained the way you need them to. When you do look back, are there some foundational things that you're really proud that you did right in the beginning?
Yeah, I surrounded myself with good people.
Yeah.
And when we're recruiting or bringing in kids, it was finding the right girls that wanted to be here and have the right attitude and knew that it wasn't going to happen right away and willing to work and get things. Yeah, I'm just proud of the process that we stuck to. We didn't get too bent out of shape about things, and we just kept knowing that we had to move forward and things would get better. And it did. So,
You've got a long history of being a part of the NAIA, even in your time at Iowa Wesleyan. That was NAIA
yep,
back then.
it
Uh,
was. Yeah.
that was the heyday of NAIA back in the 80s and early 90s. I coached at St. Ambrose
Yep.
in the 90s, and that was still big, a big rival back then.
Yep.
You were a power hitter. You had records and home runs. Were you? Did you come into coaching with that mindset, that more of that offensive mindset, or was it different when you started coaching?
No, I think it was a lot different. There was a big break in there for me. And
Yeah,
then I had kids of my own and
sure.
started coaching them. And no, for me, it was more about fundamentals and just learning to do the game the right way. And softball always intrigued me. I love the base running and the speed of the game. And so we've we've had a lot of good power hitting teams here, but we've also had teams that don't hit for a lot of power. And so you have to adjust to what you have and make it work for you. But no, I've never been about the long ball and that's what
Yeah.
it's going to be or anything like that. Just trying to teach them a little bit of everything and develop them the right way and just get them to love the game, I think.
That's kind of what I'm seeing as I look through your program and your stats and your history. You've been a guy that's evolved with what the roster you had, evolved with the times. And it's so hard for me. I'm such a baseball fan and such a softball fan. And the Major League Baseball level, the college level for baseball, the home run has become kind of everything. Everybody's puts all their money and time into the long ball. When you're looking at your season and you're thinking about what kind of team you have, how do you start thinking about strategy and getting your young women prepared to do what you want them to do?
Yeah. For me, it's always in the circle. You got to find out what kind of pitching are you going to have. And then you got to have, even with great pitchers, you just have to have solid defense. And you got to really make sure that you've got everything covered, no weak areas, and they're just well coached, know what to do with the ball. And then if you can get the pitching and defense going, then we'll worry about the offense. How many runs are we going to have to score? Are we going to have to score 3 or 4 runs, or are we going to have to score 6 or 7? And decide what we're going to do there. But for me, it's all about defense, pitching, and keeping the game low scoring, and then we'll figure out a way.
You and I have talked about you. There's some studs you're going to face this weekend. Some women that can really whip it. When you are thinking about the pitching that's coming up this weekend, we'll be specific for a second. Are you thinking about how you're going to talk to the girls going into that game in terms of, are you going to bunt more? Are you going to look for walks more? Are you looking to make contact more, hit behind runners more? Are you thinking about that now as you go into these games this weekend?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna we talked about. We are facing each team that we're facing this weekend as an All-American pitcher, and we're not gonna be putting 8, 10 runs up on the board. So everything's important, and we just go with the flow of the game. You want to get some big hits, and if you get a couple run lead, maybe you're gonna play for a big inning. But if it's gonna be tight, right, every run's gonna count, and you're gonna willing to give up some outs to move some runners and try and hope we get that one big hit or a couple big hits and try and win that game that way.
I'm always intrigued by softball and baseball. I was a baseball coach a long time ago. I coached baseball for the first 7 or 8 years of my career before I got into basketball. But it seems like basketball coaches, our egos are so big. There's a pregame speech, there's a speech in the huddle, there's a speech at halftime, there's a postgame speech. And then I watch these baseball and softball coaches, and I feel like I say, all right, let's just go do our thing today. We know what we're doing, go out and play. And I feel like baseball and softball coaches do such a better job of just staying out of the headspace of their players. Am I misreading that?
No, for me, it's like we have to do what we do best, and that I can't change that. And so you got to be yourself, and we prepare our hitters. We go through all the adjustments of every type of pitcher. They know if it's a rise ball, what are the adjustments we can make? If it's outside, inside, whatever it is, they know. We try to get them as much information because even if a good pitcher will change what they're doing, right? If you're
Right.
starting to get
Right.
on her, she's going to start pitching a different way. And so when you start guessing, sometimes you're in trouble. You just have to see the ball hit the ball. But they have to know how to make adjustments. They have to know how to adjust to the speed of a faster pitcher. And they also have to know the situation. Like we need to get the ball put in play somehow, find a way to put it in play. We don't need a home run here or whatever. At the end of the day, the scouting's important. You got to know what's going on, but it's about us, and we have to do what we do best. And you try and teach the kids adjustments so they can do that, because that has to be done in the batter's box. You can't strike out and then go back to the bench and then we'll talk about it. You've just swung and missed. What happened to you? You're getting back in the box, deep breath.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And a lot of things are taught in practice and worked on in practice, and hopefully it carries over into the game for them.
What makes you happy when you're watching freshmen come in? You got an idea what you're going to get out of a freshman typically. It's going to take some time and get their confidence there. When you are evaluating that year to year growth of your girls, what are the things that make you happy about what you after year one and into year two?
Yeah. Hopefully their confidence level and just the way they carry themselves and how they feel about themselves. But You just want them to be obviously stronger, faster, more explosive as they stay with you longer, that they're in the weight room and they're doing all of those things, right? But they're just doing all the little things defensively and swinging the bats. They're become more consistent, start to develop maybe a little more power, but I love when they start to, when they come in and maybe they're all pull and now they're starting to use the field and they're hitting the ball everywhere and just all the things that we work on and you start to see it help them. That makes me feel pretty good. And I think it makes them a better player.
What do you see a difference in that first 12 to 18 months in terms of routine and things that they're doing to prepare for that? Because you can't just all of a sudden get up to plate and say, you know what, I'm going to start hitting all fields. There's a lot of prep that goes into that, and learning how to see those outside pitches and those breaking pitches and learn to keep your hands back. What are some of those things you see where you know that growth is happening?
Yeah. And when they come in as a freshman, they're just like, they're just trying to survive. It's their first time away from home, right? There's so many things going on in the fall when we first get them in, and we don't, it's more about getting them comfortable as it is starting to teach and stuff. So their first freshman year is just getting them used to being on the team, used to being in college, used to living on their own, all of those things that are going on in their life. And then after that first semester in the fall season, we really start working a little more individually and working on things inside and getting ready for the season. So you want them to, in that first year, adjust just to being in college, just to being an athlete and knowing what's going on. And then you want to see them start to implement all the things that you're working on. And obviously, when you make a change, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to fail. And most kids will, once they fail, they'll quit, they'll go back to where they were, and that's basically where they're going to stay. But if the girls are willing to fail and to keep trying and build it back up, then that's when they can grow more than where they were at. And I want to see them have enough confidence and know that we trust them enough that it's okay to fail. And then keep sticking with the process. We talk a lot about process. It's not going to happen overnight. And for some kids, it may not happen in a year or 2 years. I've had girls come in and not do a lot, and then all of a sudden, that junior, senior year, it starts to click for them, and it happens. But they just have to stick with the progress or process and not get too overwhelmed with everything, and hopefully believe in what we're doing, right? And keep getting better that way.
I don't think kids understand that you need the repetition. You just need to
Oh yeah.
play a lot. You need to hit a lot. You need to throw a lot. You need to see
Yep.
so many balls, ground balls and fly balls. And after there's a certain point, we talk about those 10,000 hours all the time, where everything just kind of starts slowing down. You're like, oh,
Yep.
I could see it out of her hand. I knew what spin was coming. I could see the way the pitcher dropped her shoulders. I knew what was coming. And maybe I didn't see that a day ago. I didn't see that a month ago. Is that fun for you to teach those things?
Oh yeah, those light bulb moments, right?
Yeah.
When it comes on, especially like from a defensive end, I think it's real satisfying. Kids they take a lot of hitting lessons and pitching lessons and things, but not a lot of people come in with defensive things. And so when we start doing those everyday drills and they're just monotonous over and over again, and then you start to see it pay off in their game, it really makes a difference. But the big thing is, like you say, when you get to rep 5,000, they start to go through the motions a little bit. So now we're talking about how do you practice with intent, and that every time you do those little things, you have to do it like you're doing it in a game. Like, and you can't just go through the motions or it's not going to translate for you. We talk a lot about practicing with intent and just trying to do all these little things so it'll carry over. And then you do start to see it in the games. You start to see it in their practices and their things. They're not flipping the ball out of their glove and making a stupid mistake on an exchange. Like we always talk about exchanges and things like that. And
Yeah.
just those little things that become a habit then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I hate to keep using baseball as a reference and all the women in your program, and I'll apologize to them in advance, but I found it really cool that the San Francisco Giants have hired Tony Vitello, a college baseball coach, never coached Major League Baseball. And you're starting to hear some feedback from these major league players at the Giants on how he's bringing some of his college drills into the play, things that they had never seen before that they're doing differently in practices. Is there a drill or two, especially on the defensive side, that you're doing where your freshmen come in and their eyes are a little opened and they're a little bit wowed by it? Are those little drills that you do that the freshmen it's gonna make an impact?
Oh yeah, I think one of our staples is what we call Aussies or Ozzie Smith, the great shortstop for
Yeah.
the Cardinals, and but
Teaching them is it backflips, coach? Is that what we're teaching?
no, you can't do that one yet. But they get on their knees, and after they play catch, they get down on their knees, and they're just short hopping each other and how to
Yeah.
handle short hops and how to handle the glove. We're handling the glove, and we also make them do a lot of times in basketball where they pass the ball between their legs and stuff.
Yeah.
We have exchanges, and so they have to take the ball and around the world and
Love that.
around their waist and things like just so they're getting used to handling the ball and
Yeah.
taking it out of their glove and putting it in their hand and things like that. And so all of those things combined and just learning to handle short hops and things
Yeah.
like that constantly. It's a lot of fun. But the other day there was a viral video went out on a NCAA game, and the third baseman came across and she was off balance and she took the ball and she took it behind her back and brought it back to her glove before she threw it to get it organized. And that's one of the drills we do. And they all were like, "Oh my God, I saw that.
Oh, that's
You must
awesome.
do these drills too." Like, that's always a feel good moment to
Yeah.
have them see it pay off where it was specifically something like that.
Well, you see so many young kids that ground ball. It's almost like I'm protecting myself. The shoulders go back and they
Yeah,
straighten up, and
back on their heels.
they're so afraid to hit their face. And I just remember teaching young women and young women to just bury that glove on that short hop, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, I've never thought about it that way. And all of a sudden that fear starts to go away of taking that ground ball and everything's more aggressive. So are you are you finding that, and I don't want to denounce high school and club coaches, are you finding there's things that you're pretty consistently teaching freshmen that they're not getting before they get to you?
Yeah, and again, they do get a lot of hitting and pitching lessons. So I
Yeah.
think, and they're not all exactly the same, but they've got most of the basics. But the thing I see lacking is some defense, some game IQ, and then
Yeah.
base running is not good.
Yeah.
So, and in the state of Iowa, I don't know other states, but like you have courtesy runners and reentries and more courtesy runners. Pitchers and catchers never run the bases, and then they get here, and sometimes your pitchers are really good athletes, or if they're hitting, or your catchers,
Yeah.
they've got to run the bases now,
Yeah.
and they haven't been doing it. They don't know how to do it, and so we're very aggressive on the bases. We want to push. We want to put pressure on people, make them react, and that's there's not a lot of instinct out there that as much as I would like to see. So,
Yeah.
we work on base running but it's hard. They're scared to make a mistake sometimes, and we
Yeah.
always you can't you don't want to be stupid, obviously, but if
Yeah.
we're not getting thrown out once or twice, we're not being aggressive enough in my
Correct.
mind. And don't be afraid to make an aggressive mistake. So keep pushing.
That one or two outs that you might run into might lead to one or two errors later in the game because the outfielders are
Absolutely.
trying to get the glove up. They think you're going to be aggressive. They know you're going to be aggressive. So they overrush a ground ball, overrun a fly ball, and all of a sudden you've got that momentum back that maybe you lost it because you were
Absolutely.
aggressive. So I
Yep.
love that. Let's talk about club. Let's talk about travel softball. These kids are playing so many games, and you talked about it. The IQ isn't coming with it because they're working so much one on one. They're not practicing with that shortstop, second baseman. They're not practicing with running the bases and where the cutoff needs to be and things like that. Is there something that needs to happen at the travel level that could fix some of this? Are we playing too many games? Do we need to get back to 3 days of practice and maybe two games on the weekend? Are we hurting kids?
Yeah, and I don't. There's a lot of travel teams that do a good
Yeah.
job and things like that, but I think they're playing too much, not practicing enough, and a lot of them are from. They've got kids coming 60 miles, so you can't practice. If you do, you
Right.
get together and hit and whatever. But I think that what I'm seeing is by the time the girls get to college, they're almost burned out from playing.
Yeah.
And we practice a lot, and they're not
Right.
used to practicing a lot. And so everything, the whole what is softball starts to change a little bit. And we're developing and learning, and we're not playing as much. And if you go travel ball and you go 1-4 for the weekend, and hey, we'll see you next weekend, and it's 1-4. Ladies,
Yeah.
we got some things to work on here, and it's also the competition. Like they're not very competitive sometimes, and I
Right.
think that gets lost in some of that because the games don't mean very much. And with our games, right, I say it's going to be a 7 inning game. Every pitch of
Yeah.
every inning is going to count. And you have to be locked in both physically and mentally. And you're going to be exhausted when the game's over. We couldn't begin to play more than 2 games in a day. I wouldn't even want to do that. And some of those
Right.
travel kids are playing 3 and 4,
I know
you
it.
know,
In the
and
heat and 100-degree weather.
yeah, and then they're also hanging a clock on their amount of time out there maybe
Yeah.
isn't like ours would be, but I went to a game once and it was the team was down by 2 runs and the bases were loaded and there were 2 outs and the clock went out on the buzzer and dump calls time, game over, and it ends. Like, well, here comes the biggest pitch of the
Right.
entire game and they just walk it off. That's
I don't know any
that to
other
me
sport
is
that
like,
does that. Do
yeah,
you?
no.
I can
I mean,
imagine that in a basketball game or a,
yeah, you run out of time in a basketball or football
yeah,
game.
what's coming and
But
you know,
softball and baseball, you have to get the outs, right? The
yeah,
game doesn't end until you
that's
get the
right.
outs. So it's never, not going to run out of time. You're going to run out of opportunities. But I don't know. I think that some of the basics get lost and some of the learning to be competitive and to make adjustments. A
Yeah.
lot of times you don't get pitchers don't face a hitter 2 and 3 times in a game. And they're adjusting to you and this and that game that goes on. And you don't see that a lot. They,
It's it's such a loss of the principles of the game. I remember being 9, 10 years old, and we would, if there were 3 of us, we'd play pickle, or
Mhm.
4 of us, we'd play pickle.
Yeah.
We'd hit fly balls to each other. We'd do all the counting games. I can't remember what they were called, 500 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you see young women doing that? Do you see them button and practicing on the side and playing together and playing catch and throwing high balls to each other and learning how to catch behind their back? Are you seeing any of that we used
No,
to
not
do?
really. Not really. No. But I'm like you. We went out first thing in the morning and we played all day and we came
Yeah,
back home. And
yeah. I
that's
had
how
my
you
glove on my bike, and wherever we were, we played.
back
The
when
only,
I was
the only time you
a little
stopped is
kid.
when the ball went in the gutter. Oh, we have to
Exactly.
go find a new ball.
Like Sandlot. You got to go over the fence there
Exactly.
and get it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see a lot of just free play and things like that. And everything's organized and
Yeah. Everything's done for them.
yep, that's pretty
What,
much it.
how do we get that back? How do we find the joy? Because I feel like that was some of the greatest memories of my childhood. Playing a pickup baseball game, playing pickup basketball, playing pickup football, throwing the ball around. And just,
Mhm.
I don't remember my arm ever hurting until I started coaching and I was throwing 200 batting practice throws every day because I was just always throwing the ball. is there a way to get back to that? Is it take sometimes one kid to say, hey, I'm going to make some phone calls today. Let's go hit. Let's go
Yeah.
play. Does that happen?
So,
Can we make that
uh,
happen?
I don't know. I don't know. We do a lot of team bonding things. We have an annual kickball game and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And they get into that totally, right? When you get them to do it, they have a ton of fun with it. Or
Yeah.
you had some little game that's different in practice, and all of a sudden, these kids that you don't think are that competitive are being super competitive, right? And then they get into that, and then we get back to the game and they lose some of that edge. They don't play with that freedom or that joy, I guess. They're
Yeah.
more worried about making a mistake or whatever it is. I don't know. It's a great question. How do you get them
How
to
do we do that? Because they're
play?
missing.
You know,
I
it's
think
like,
they're just missing out, and it's
um,
the phones have taken over, and technology has taken over, and it's too easy to sit in your room and not get outside. And
there's lots for
that's
them to do. So there's always something else.
I'm just the old guy on my porch yelling at people going too fast. But yeah, I'm I'm with you there. You've reached the NAIA World Series and finished in the top five. Let's talk about what separates teams that get there and don't get there. What does that look like, Coach? And I'm not going to let you just say recruiting. I'm
Oh
not going
no.
to let you just
Yeah.
say talent
So
because you're too good of a coach.
again, with softball, all of those teams, they've got good pitching, right?
Yeah.
And so you do need to find somebody in the circle, but those teams are all playing at the right time of the season. They've gotten better as the year went along. And some of them didn't start out that well. But they kept stuck to the process and they keep getting better and they start to gel and their confidence just starts to build. And at the time that you get to the conference tournament or the end of the regular season, they're really together as a unit. They're very confident and they're doing all the little things right. And they believe in themselves. And that's the difference. And I can it's really it's just attitude. It's how they think about themselves.
Yeah.
Because like my team right now is struggling a little bit as far as wins and losses go and things like that. But we're trying not to talk about the wins and losses so much, but sticking to the process and good things will happen if we just keep getting a little bit better every day. But it's we're just trying to get a stronger mindset and believe in ourselves, and it's slowly coming. And I think we're going to get there, but that's the difference. Like the team I have that's maybe not achieving as much as we want right now could by the end of the year be doing that. And it's going to be a mindset thing. It's not going to be a skill set change or anything like that. It's going to be a mindset change and believing in each other. And then it just starts to roll and build from there. And I think all of those teams that make it to the World Series have strong mindsets. They believe in themselves and their skills, and they're playing well together as a team.
The years that my teams won conference championships or we made it to the national tournament, it seemed like my leaders took over. They took ownership of the program. Kind of said, "We got this, coach." Not that I stopped coaching, but it was like there were drills where we weren't working hard or drills that we weren't getting stuff done. And my seniors would step up and say, we got to do better. I didn't have to be the one saying it. Have you felt that over the last 17 years when you've been really consistent, but when you've had really great teams, do you see a difference in your leadership?
Oh, I think so. I think that the leaders can only do so much and they can hold each other accountable and
Right.
things like that. And that's certainly super important. But everybody all the way through has to buy into that. And it only takes one or two that can throw that off a little bit. But
Right.
absolutely, the senior leadership and the way things are done and how you're able to practice is so important, right? And so when you have a lot of seniors, you're able to get so much more in practice because they're helping all the
Right.
everyone else and everybody knows what's going on and it just moves along a lot faster and more smooth and the leadership is huge and we try to teach leadership and it doesn't have to come from a senior certainly it can come from anybody. And there's a lot of different kinds of leadership too, whether it's leading by example or being verbal or whatever. But super important to have people on the team that are holding others accountable and leading them on.
How do the younger players react to that? Maybe they haven't been in programs before where the seniors and juniors, seniors are almost like assistant coaches. They're barking, they're
Yeah,
keeping you in line. How do the youngsters handle that?
I think they love it. They want to, especially early in their career, they want to
Yeah,
know what to do, right? They want some help, they want some guidance, and they look up to those players, right? And then they can become one of those leaders and help each other. So I think it's a great thing. And it's not everybody is the same kind of leader, but
yeah.
everybody's capable of being a leader in some way. So
I've coached women and men. There's a definite difference in accepting leadership, don't you think?
I've never coached men, so
But you
I've
played.
played,
You
obviously.
played you played a long time, right?
Yeah, many years ago, right?
Yeah,
So,
just
yeah, I think
yesterday.
that I think the ladies are a little more accepting of the seniors and the
Yeah,
older experienced players. They they don't look at it as criticism. They look at it as they're trying to help me. As where I
yeah,
think sometimes guys take it as a criticism or
right.
somebody trying to that the C on their shirt means coach instead of captain, like they're
Yeah,
trying to boss them around. And
right.
I don't see that in the women's game so much, or with my teams.
Yeah. They want that. They want to share and they're open to the sharing. They know getting better means I've got to see those that have come before me and see what they're doing and learning.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yep.
Are You've used the word intent a lot in our conversation today. What are some of the things you're doing with intent when it comes to leadership?
Yeah. We always obviously have meetings and we talk to each player about are they a leader and how do they lead and how would they handle certain things and try to give them maybe tips on how they could handle it if they didn't
Sure.
feel comfortable and things like that. But we always, especially in the field during the game, if things aren't going right, I expect my leaders to call the team in to reset them. It shouldn't always be me going out there. And so we talk about that in practice. And you'll see my players in practice if things aren't going right. They'll call a timeout and they'll all go out there and they'll before I when they see me starting to get a little bit testy, they can prevent that. But you see that a lot, and then that builds on that. And we
Yeah.
also every day before practice or we start practice with a jog and we do our dynamics or whatever it is to get
Yeah.
loose. Then they always have a team meeting. I walk away, all coaches walk away. They're there for a minute or two or whatever it takes, and they're going to talk about what are we doing today, and hopefully I'm not sure who's talking in that because we're not involved, but
Right.
that's their chance to encourage each other and let's be better today and let's do this good today. Or maybe somebody's not quite feeling it. They can share like, hey, something's going on with me. If I don't do this,
Yeah.
this is why. Or they just have their time. And so every day there's a leadership piece in there for them to do it. And then once practice starts, obviously you want them to continue to encourage each other and lead.
Talk,
Yeah,
communicate, right?
talk. Yep, all the time.
It's it's so interesting when it comes to leadership. It's not rocket science. It sounds like you guys do a really intentional job of saying we have to create that space for leaders to be able to practice being leaders, right?
Mhm.
As simple as you walking away and giving them a chance to talk about what they want to accomplish that day. Leadership has to step up. Somebody has to decide they're going to talk.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
has
I'm
to
hoping
share an
it's
opinion.
not just silent out there.
Yeah. So I love that. I think for all the young coaches and high school coaches that are listening to this, and we have a lot of them that do, and a lot of parents listen to this, I think as a parent, I don't always do a good enough job of just shutting up.
It's hard, right?
It is. and sometimes I just have to remember, hey, great game, and that's it. I want I want my daughter to fill in the blanks. I want her to tell me what she's going through. You are such the impression I get from you the time I got to see you on campus and talking to you now, you seem like a genuinely joyful person. Is there another side to you, Coach?
Um, I love what I do, right?
Yeah, I
And
can
I
tell.
love the team. Like
Yeah,
they're a great bunch of kids, and their skill set has nothing to do with how I feel about them or
right.
anything. And I want them to all have a good experience and just have fun with it. But yeah, they know they've seen another side of me occasionally, but when that side comes out too much, it loses its effect, in
Yes.
my opinion. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like with as parents, right? You holler
Yeah.
at your kids all the time, and then after a while, they're just not listening. So I'm pretty intentional about when I get upset and how often I get upset. But they know what my expectations are. And we'll holler a lot during practice and
Yeah.
stuff. But we, if we're not having fun, then what are we doing?
Exactly.
That that's my whole thing. In
Yeah.
this, if you're going to live and die on wins and losses alone, it's tough, right? And
Yeah.
you're going to have a lot of disappointing days. And at the end of the day, we're out here trying to have a good experience, trying to have fun. And the other day I was setting up for the game, and one of the girls they graduated a few years back and was walking her dog by, and she saw me and came running over and talked to me about her career and all the things the game translated into her career. And that really made me
That's
like,
great.
that makes you step back and go, this is why wins and losses don't
Yeah.
matter. So
Yeah. That's it's the best part of coaching. The longer you do it, the more you just look forward to those things. I got a call. I've got a former player who's what is Brandon now? He's got to be 45
yeah.
years old. He's married. He's a partner in his accounting firm. And it was just like yesterday. He called me and or sent me a text saying, "Hey, coach, I need some advice." He's a
Yeah.
45-year-old man, but it made me feel so good that he
Yeah.
thought I'm going to call coach and get his opinion on this. So I'm with you. I love that stuff. When you look at your career, are there things that you're most proud of? And we forget the World Series appearance, forget the national tournaments. Are there things that you look back and go, gosh, I'm just really proud of that?
Yeah. The program in general, I'm
Yeah.
super proud of because
It wasn't a program.
when we started. And I'm super blessed to have the facility that we have, but it wasn't always that way. And
Right.
prior to getting our field, I think I played home games on 10 or 11 different fields. I had the equipment in the back of my car. We went from 12 players on the roster up to where we're supporting a junior varsity team and a varsity team. And we've now have a beautiful field that was voted the NFCA National NAIA Field of the Year 2 years ago, and
No doubt.
super
It is a
blessed
great
with
field.
this. And
Yeah.
we're hosting the conference tournament most years, and people love to come here, and we do a good job hosting it. And it's just we've been in three national tournaments, three or four national tournaments, and it just from where the program started to where it's at now. Yeah, I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
So,
Coach, I'll tell you this. I've seen so many teams, and now that I'm at 30,000 feet and I'm not coaching my own team, I visit a lot of programs and I go watch a lot of practices. And it always makes me feel so good when I walk into a practice like I did the other day in yours, and there was no fear. The girls were already having fun. They had a relationship with you, they had a relationship with each other. I said, let's take a picture, and they jumped in. So I want you to know from an outsider how exciting that is for me. I know it's a great program. And for those that are listening that are thinking about their daughter going to play college softball, go visit Mount Mercy, go visit coach and the team. Because the more you visit a lot of schools, the more you start understanding what you want to be a part of. And I was upset that I couldn't stay longer because I wanted to see more. So I want you to know I appreciate you for that.
No, I appreciate you saying that.
It says a lot about you, and it was fun. It was fun to see. Coach, I could talk to you all day. Let's do a little rapid fire. Let's get to know you a little bit. Let's let you share a little bit. Do you have a favorite band or artist of all time?
Oh my gosh, I really like all kinds of music, a
That's
lot of
good.
different genres, but I like Carrie Underwood a lot. I think I'm a country
Nice.
guy,
Are
so
you?
yeah,
She's great.
yeah.
Yeah, any others that you like besides Carrie?
Nobody specific. I'm just kind of all over the board
All
with
over.
it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's
like to listen to what the girl like. They have a lot different taste than I do, but I enjoy their music
yeah,
and when they're singing and stuff, I think that's awesome.
yeah.
I just I love it all.
Nice. That's great. I know every time my wife has been in the car because before me, I'd turn on the car and the country channel's on. So I we listen to a lot of country too. Are you a concert guy? What's the best concert you've ever been to?
It's been years and years, so I'm
Yeah,
really
I'm
aging
sorry.
myself. But I
That's
think
all right.
Pat Benatar was probably the last one that I
Yeah,
saw, or maybe AC/DC.
yeah. Those are great concerts.
Yeah.
All right. Got some fun music for your posts, for your social media posts I'm going to put out too. I love those. Those are good choices. Do you have a go-to pregame meal?
Not pregame, no. I'm usually too busy getting everything ready and but don't like to eat too much before the
What's your
so
typical post game look like after the field's done, game's over, the girls have left? What's your post game look like?
yeah, I'm usually pretty exhausted and so it's something I'm gonna grab something, whether it's a Subway or a Wendy's or maybe
Yeah,
a lunch, something like that. So
something easy,
something easy
something you
and
don't have
quick.
to think about.
Yeah, just go home. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a stat guy after the game? Do you review the stats? Do you watch any film, or can you let it go till the next day?
No, I'll usually be in the box score for sure
Yeah.
that day, but I won't watch any film or anything like that until later.
Yeah.
But always want to recap and what I was thinking, was that what was happening,
Yeah.
and while it's still fresh in your mind. Otherwise, I don't think I could fall asleep. So
I'm with you.
review
It's
everything.
you need a little break from the game too at some point. You need to be able to let your brain forget about it a little bit, and that was always hard for me. Is there a favorite softball movie or sports movie that you love?
A League of Their Own is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Hanks and that.
Yeah.
So
Great movie.
that's an older movie, but I used to, Robert Redford was in The Natural. That
Oh
was always
yeah.
one of my favorite
Mine
movies.
too.
So,
That
but
if that's on TV, man, I can't turn it off. I'm watching till the end. Both of those movies.
yeah,
Great choices. What's one word your players would use to describe you?
they call me a teddy bear a lot, but I don't like that too much. But I think they would say that I'm probably fun most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely got some teddy bear in you, but I bet when the heat's on, you can get them moving a little bit too.
Oh, yeah. They know that.
Where's your favorite place to recruit when if you guys travel and you're on the road? Where do you like to go?
For recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, and I was a little bit different with our high school being in the summertime.
Summer.
I think
Yeah.
we're the only state that does that. And we're doing a lot, and the majority of my team's going to come from Eastern Iowa. And so just being around and being able to, once our season ends, still watch a lot of high school games and travel ball games and things like that. So we don't venture too far from home. I do like the Quad Cities. I have a lot of girls from that area as well. But when it gets to further away, that's more of we're on the phone doing
Yeah.
those things where it's not so much a in-person visit or getting to watch them play and things like that. So,
I don't think I've really put enough thought into what an advantage it is to have high school softball in the summer and what that can do for you because during your season, you're practicing the same time the girls
Yeah.
are. You're playing games the same time the girls are. So
Yep.
what an advantage it is. Why wouldn't you recruit heavily in Eastern Iowa when you can see so much softball from
Uh,
May to July?
yeah, and they're close. They're playing quite a bit, and so it's
Yeah.
easier to develop a little bit more of a relationship. Put
Yeah.
yourself in front and see it, and just see a lot of different girls. And we like to host some games at our place too. That's always nice if they'll come
Yeah.
play there a little bit. And so sometimes when it rains, I'll get that phone call because of our turf. Then they
Yeah.
can't play and they need a place. So always happy
Bet you do.
to host them and things like that. But it's it's Iowa softball, high school softball, still pretty serious. The majority of them play a 40 game schedule. The state tournament's still a big thing. And I know some states it's not as important, and travel
Yeah.
ball is definitely more of the king, but
Yeah.
it's hard for us to see those games. Like you
Yeah.
said, we're in season and it's really tough.
Are you seeing value in going to practices, or is there more value in you to go to games?
Um, it's probably games and then just getting them on campus. And we like to do a workout with them here if we can. Sometimes you go to a game or whatever and they don't get a lot of action, or they get
Yeah.
walked a couple times, or maybe they have a bad game, and it's hard to judge a lot of things. But if we can get them on campus and actually work out with them ourselves, that's what I prefer,
Yeah.
especially over
I,
videos, or especially the majority of them that I see are the things hung on the fence,
yeah.
and it's just not very good. So
Again, it's a misunderstanding of what you're looking for, and really the IQ things that you need to see and the competitive things that you need to see often go miss. So we'll get into that in segment two a little bit more.
yeah,
Coach, such a joy to get to know you. I'm always so thankful that there's coaches like you in the world, because I think you're a great role model for coaches like me, and just how you go about your business, how you care about the kids. Your program wins, but it's not your priority. It's making sure the experience is great. And so I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you having me on, and thank you for what you do. It's awesome.
My pleasure. For you listening, come back on Monday. Coach and I are going to break down recruiting. We're going to get into his brain and how he builds his roster. So thanks again for doing this, Coach.
Yep, thank you.